We have a hard time grieving. You know, every year we got an anniversary coming up. It never goes away. It has been 2 years, and there's no reason that no one has not been arrested yet, and I need justice for my child.
Welcome, true crime enthusiasts, to a story that pierced the hearts of many and ignited a global cry for justice. Today, we delve into the tragic and perplexing case of Shanquella Robinson, a young woman whose vibrant life was cut short under mysterious circumstances during what should have been a dream vacation. Her story highlights the agonizing search for truth and accountability and the unwavering fight of a family determined to uncover what truly happened. Hi guys, grab a cup of coffee and settle in for this thrilling true crime story. I'd love to know where you're watching this video from. Let me know in the comments. Don't hesitate to join the conversation too. Your thoughts and input are a vital part of this story. Welcome to 247 True Crime Chronicles, where all our stories are based on true crimes. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification bell icon so you won't miss any of our newest stories. Okay, let's continue the story. In the vibrant city of Charlotte, North Carolina, lived a young woman named Shanquella Robinson. At just 25 years old, Shanquella was a beacon of success and ambition. A university graduate, she had already carved out a significant path for herself as a thriving entrepreneur. She owned a stylish boutique clothing line that resonated with many, and she also ran a popular children's hair braiding salon, showcasing her diverse talents and dedication. Shanquella was known for her beauty, her drive, and the bright future that lay ahead of her. Her life was a testament to hard work and passion, inspiring those around her. In October 2022, Shanquella embarked on what she believed would be a dream vacation, a luxurious birthday trip to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. This wasn't just any trip. It was meant to be a celebration, a time for joy and relaxation in a stunning paradise. She traveled with a group of 6 individuals, including her best friend and 5 other people from the Charlotte area. While some were indeed her close friends, others were more acquaintances, individuals she knew through her social circle in Charlotte. The group included Kill Cook, Malik Dyer, Winter Donovan, Ely Hyatt, DeJane Jackson, and Nazir Wiggins. Their destination was the exquisite Villa Linda 32, a luxury villa nestled within an exclusive community just outside San Jose del Cabo. This villa was truly something out of a travel magazine, boasting a sprawling 6,000-square-foot hacienda-style design with pristine white marble floors and elegant granite countertops. It featured 5 bedrooms, each with its own private bathroom, a spacious indoor-outdoor living area, and a private infinity pool that shimmered under the sun, complete with a swim-up bar and a hot tub. A rooftop terrace offered panoramic views of the Sea of Cortez, making it the perfect setting for a luxurious getaway. Villa Linda 32 promised leisure and paradise, but tragically, it would soon become the setting for a horrific nightmare. On their first night, October 28, 2022, Shanquella spoke with her mother, Shanquella Robinson, who was back home in North Carolina. Shanquella reassured her mother that everything was fine, that the trip was going well, and that she was enjoying herself. But within mere hours, the serene atmosphere of the villa would shatter, and something would go terribly wrong. In the early afternoon of October 29th, Shanquella Robinson suddenly became violently ill and unresponsive. At least, that's what her friends claimed when they frantically called for help around 2:13 p.m. The villa's concierge was contacted, reporting that a young woman was in medical distress. Almost simultaneously, one of Shanquella's friends called her mother, Shanquella Robinson, in Charlotte. The friend's voice was anxious, relaying that Shanquella had been drinking heavily and was now really sick, suggesting alcohol poisoning. Shanquella was immediately alarmed. Her daughter hardly drank heavily, yet the friend assured her that a local doctor was on the way to the villa and that they would take great care of Shanquella. Shanquella hung up, desperately praying it was just a severe hangover. However, as time passed, inconsistencies in the friend's accounts began to emerge. Shanquella would later recount that each one of the people that were there with her were telling a different story. These conflicting narratives immediately fueled her suspicion, but at that moment, all she could do was wait by the phone, hoping her daughter was okay. Back in Cabo, Dr. Ornelas arrived at Villa Linda 32 around 3 p.m. in response to the urgent call. Shanquella's friends met her, reiterating their story. Shanquella had consumed a lot of alcohol and now required medical attention. Dr. Ornelas found Shanquella in the villa's game room, reportedly on the couch or possibly lying on the floor. Accounts would later differ. The doctor assessed her condition, noting that Shanquella appeared stable but dehydrated, disoriented, verbally unresponsive, and seemingly intoxicated. In essence, Shanquella was conscious but profoundly impaired, unable to communicate. The doctor strongly recommended that Shanquella be taken to a hospital for IV fluids and further evaluation. However, the friends resisted this recommendation, insisting that Shanquella could be treated right there at the villa and did not need to go to the hospital. Their adamant refusal raised questions. Some speculated they feared the cost, while others suggested they worried hospital staff might notice something else was amiss with Shanquella. Despite her professional judgment, Dr. Ornelas acceded to the group's wishes and began to treat Shanquella on site, setting up an IV drip for hydration. About an hour into the visit, at 4:13 p.m., Shanquella's condition took a drastic turn. She suffered a seizure. Her body stiffened, and uncontrolled jerking movements swept through her. Panic undoubtedly filled the villa as the doctor rushed to help while the friends watched in shock. Dr. Ornelas immediately called for an ambulance. By 4:20 p.m., a 911 call was placed. Shanquella was struggling to breathe and her pulse was fading. The once celebratory villa had transformed into a scene of desperation. One of Shanquella's companions made another frantic call to Salamandra, relaying that things weren't looking good. Salamandra's heart dropped. She urged them to get her daughter to the hospital, offering to pay whatever was needed. The friends oddly mentioned something about Shanquella's travel insurance not working in Mexico and a hospital needing a $5,000 cash up front, a detail that further aroused Salamandra's suspicions. At 4:49 p.m., paramedics arrived at the villa. They found Shanquella unresponsive. By some reports, her breathing had stopped and she had no pulse. The team immediately initiated CPR and advanced life support measures in the elegant living room. Paramedics fought desperately to save Shanquella's life, administering 14 rounds of CPR, delivering 6 electric shocks with a defibrillator, and injecting 5 doses of epinephrine. It was a prolonged, intense resuscitation effort lasting 45 minutes or longer, as doctors and paramedics cycled through every possible measure while the friends stood by, some crying, others stunned. Police officers Omar and David from Los Cabos PD arrived at 5:25 p.m., given the severity of the emergency involving a foreign tourist. The doctor met them, informing them that a young American woman had consumed too much alcohol and was now unresponsive. Police noted the scenario as described, with no mention of foul play, and waited. Heartbreakingly, at approximately 5:57 p.m., Shanquella Robinson was declared dead. Despite every effort, there were no signs of life. The carefree vacation had turned into a literal nightmare. The luxurious villa was eerily quiet, save for the sounds of sobs and whispers from her so-called friends. A life had ended, and no one seemed to understand how or why. The official paperwork prepared on the scene initially painted the incident as a tragic mishap, with the police report, based on the doctor's and friends' input, listing the cause of death as CPR arrest due to alcohol poisoning. It stated Shanquella died about 2 hours and 45 minutes after the doctor arrived, consistent with the timeline. The police noted no signs of internal or external injuries on Shanquella's body during their initial observation. Even U.S. State Department officials, relying on Mexican authorities, communicated to the Robinson family that Mexican authorities said there was no clear evidence Robinson was murdered. But almost immediately, inconsistencies began to surface, shattering the initial narrative. For one, the friends' stories didn't align. Salamandra Robinson noted that when the Cabos Six rushed home the day after Shanquella's death, leaving her body behind, each gave different accounts. One claimed a housekeeper found Shanquella unresponsive, another said they discovered her slumped in the bathroom, and yet another insisted Shanquella was found in a bed. They couldn't even agree on where in the villa Shanquella had been found while unconscious. These conflicting details were a massive red flag for the family. Then came a bombshell that would entirely shatter the alcohol poisoning narrative. A video emerged on social media, surfacing about 2 weeks after Shanquella's death. This leaked clip went viral, revealing a disturbing physical altercation. Filmed inside a bedroom at Villa Linda 32, Shanquella was seen completely defenseless, being brutally attacked by one of her female travel companions, later identified as Jane Jackson. The attacker struck Shanquella repeatedly in the head and face, delivering punch after punch. Shanquella did not fight back. She appeared dazed or unwilling to retaliate. In the background, a male voice, presumably one of the other friends, recorded the assault, taunting her with, "Shanquella, can you at least fight back?" This line would become infamous, a haunting reminder that Shanquella was assaulted while others watched and did nothing. The video stopped shortly after, without showing the full outcome, but it was enough to contradict everything the friends had told Salamandra and the police. Shanquella had not simply fallen ill from alcohol, she had been beaten. When Salamandra saw the video online, her stomach turned. The friends who had sat in her living room, cried with her, and tried to reassure her it was a tragic accident, had never once mentioned a fight. Shanquella's body was flown back to Charlotte on November 12th, and her family noticed bruising inconsistent with alcohol poisoning. The leaked video ignited outrage, spreading across social media platforms and especially resonating within the Black community. This was not a tourist accident. By the video, it looked like a crime. Justice for Shanquella trended, and pressure mounted on authorities in both Mexico and the United States. Even before the video surfaced, Mexican authorities had begun to suspect foul play, thanks to the findings of Shanquella's autopsy in Baja California Sur. On November 5, 2022, just 1 week after her death, the Baja California Sur coroner's office released Shanquella's death certificate and autopsy report. The results were shocking and completely at odds with the initial police report. According to the Mexican autopsy, Shanquella Robinson died from a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation. In simpler terms, her neck was broken. The atlas, the first cervical vertebra at the base of the skull, had been dislocated, meaning her skull and spine were literally separated due to violent force. This kind of injury requires significant force, akin to extreme whiplash or a high-speed car accident or a brutal attack. The cause of death was listed as severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, not alcohol intoxication or cardiac arrest. It was a broken neck. The report also noted that the approximate time from injury to death was about 15 minutes, suggesting Shanquella sustained the fatal injury shortly before 3 p.m., possibly right before the doctor arrived at the villa, hinting at the violent encounter partially captured on video. Crucially, the Mexican autopsy explicitly stated that Shanquella's death was violent, not accidental, and nowhere did it mention alcohol or intoxication as a contributing factor. The earlier police report, based on assumptions, was debunked by forensic science. The Mexican autopsy was a game changer. It was notarized and provided to the family, who made it public through their attorneys. When Salamandra read it, her suspicions hardened into certainty. The broken neck, the cracked spine, it all aligned with her fears and what the horrific video suggested. Shanquella had been attacked and fatally injured by someone she was traveling with, someone she trusted.
Federal authorities have a duty to thoroughly and quickly investigate a claim, and that every day that they delay is justice denied for this family.
To the 6 that was with her. The sooner you come forward, the sooner you take your part in it, the sooner you can go on with your life. Because no matter what, you didn't have the right.
Bernard Robinson, Shanquella's father, recounted his own reaction when Shanquella's body was returned to North Carolina on November 12th. He went to view her at the funeral home, and what he saw brought him to his knees. Through his tears, he promised his daughter, "Baby daddy will get you justice." At Shanquella's funeral a week later, attended by hundreds, Bernard declared, "All I want is justice. I just want the Mexican authorities, the embassy, to do the right thing, make it right, because they came over there on your soil and did what they did and came back here." He implored Mexican officials not to let this slide. Mexican authorities were indeed moving forward. Thanks to the autopsy results, they were now treating Shanquella's death as a potential homicide, specifically a femicide, a term under Mexican law for a gender-based killing of a woman. On November 23, 2022, Baja California Sur Attorney General Daniel de la Rosa Anaya announced that a local judge had issued an arrest warrant for a suspect, a female American, the direct aggressor, likely Dehane Jackson. The Attorney General clarified that Robinson did not die from alcohol intake or from injuries sustained in a fight, but rather from a direct assault that caused a spinal cord fracture. This was not an accident, it was a homicide. To secure the suspect's capture, Mexican authorities worked with Interpol and U.S. authorities to obtain an Interpol Red Notice, an international alert for a wanted person, to begin the extradition process. The idea was for the U.S. to arrest and detain the suspect on Mexico's behalf and send her back to face Mexican justice. The Baja California Sur governor even publicly stated, "There is no impunity in this case. Everything is under investigation. It's important to obtain the court order for whoever is responsible and also if there were any accomplices. By late November, Mexico's message was clear. They knew this was a killing. They had a warrant, and they wouldn't let it go. For Shanquella's grieving family, this news brought a measure of hope. Salamandra told ABC News that hearing an arrest warrant was issued felt like a relief. "I feel so good. That's a good feeling. That's what we've been waiting for someone to finally be held accountable and arrested. I just can't wait for justice to be served." It seemed justice was on the horizon, just in another jurisdiction. The family assumed the United States would assist Mexico, hand over the suspect, and a trial in Mexico would reveal the truth. However, extraditing a U.S. citizen to face charges in Mexico is not always a quick or simple process. While Mexico had moved swiftly, the U.S. investigation took a different turn, leading to frustration for Shanquella's loved ones. A second autopsy was performed on Shanquella's body, this time in the United States, and it would astonishingly conflict with the Mexican findings, clouding the path to prosecution. Shanquella's body was returned to her family in Charlotte on November 12, 2022. Given the disturbing revelations of the Mexican autopsy, the FBI and U.S. authorities decided to conduct their own examination. Days after her body arrived, on November 17, 2022, the second autopsy was performed by the Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner's Office in North Carolina. The hope was to gather evidence for a U.S. investigation or to confirm details for an extradition request. But when the results came in, they did not align at all with the Mexican report. According to U.S. federal officials, the Charlotte autopsy found no evidence of a spinal cord injury or atlas luxation. Shanquella's spine was intact, not broken. This was startling. How could one autopsy report say her neck was literally severed internally while another found nothing of the sort? The Mecklenburg County ME listed Shanquella's cause of death as undetermined, meaning they could not conclusively tie it to any single trauma or condition. Instead of a clear-cut fatal injury, the report highlighted several significant findings. A hematoma on Shanquella's forehead, indicating blunt force trauma to the head, mild cerebral edema, or brain swelling, consistent with a concussion, and hypoxic ischemic brain injury, meaning her brain was damaged due to a lack of oxygen and blood flow, likely occurring during her cardiac arrest. While her brain showed damage from being without oxygen, her neck appeared normal. The absence of a clearly broken neck led the medical examiner to refrain from declaring a definitive cause of death. They couldn't say for sure if it was the head trauma, another internal injury, or a combination of factors. By the time Shanquella's body was examined in the U.S., it had been embalmed, and 3 weeks had passed since her death. Embalming can make autopsy analysis challenging, potentially masking injuries. It's possible a neck injury, especially a ligament injury rather than a clean bone fracture, might have been missed, or if it was a dislocation, embalming and handling could have repositioned it. Another theory is that the initial autopsy slightly misinterpreted the injuries. The U.S. autopsy also confirmed what the Mexican death certificate indicated: no alcohol was detected in her system whatsoever. This further solidified that the initial story from friends about alcohol poisoning was false. For Shanquella's family, the second autopsy results were a double-edged sword. On one hand, it still indicated she suffered a violent attack. On the other, by removing the clear-cut broken neck finding, it muddied the waters. The undetermined cause of death made it harder to pinpoint legally who or what exactly caused Shanquella to die. By early 2023, the U.S. had to wrestle with these conflicting medical findings, which directly influenced their decision on whether to bring charges. Meanwhile, Mexican authorities pressed forward based on their own evidence. The death of Shanquella Robinson became the focus of parallel investigations. Mexico treated it as a homicide on their soil, while U.S. authorities examined federal law violations since American citizens were involved. After issuing the arrest warrant in late November 2022, Mexican authorities effectively charged Shanquella's attacker with homicide or femicide and needed to get her into custody. Mexico sent an extradition request through diplomatic channels, enlisting Interpol's help to locate and detain the suspect in the U.S. Mexican police and prosecutors seemed confident, emphasizing cooperation with the U.S. and assuring there is no impunity in this case. By early 2023, however, no one was arrested or extradited. The suspect, unofficially known to be Dejan Jackson, remained in America. The lack of visible action frustrated everyone. By late 2022 and early 2023, activists and Shanquella's family publicly called for more pressure. Civil rights activists in the U.S. mailed letters to Mexican authorities, and protests and rallies in Charlotte demanded transparency. Shanquella Robinson noted, "We haven't heard from any of those 6 since the autopsy came out." The FBI field office in Charlotte was involved, gathering evidence on U.S. soil, interviewing people, and receiving tips. On November 9, 2022, a man walked into the FBI Charlotte office claiming Shanquella was murdered. Another tipster mentioned an altercation, that Shanquella died, and that friends were claiming she was drinking and hit her head on the toilet. This detail suggests a narrative the friends were discussing. The tipster also mentioned seeing photos of Shanquella's body with bruises on her and that she looks like she had been stomped on, aligning with Salamandra's observations and suggesting an extremely violent assault. The informant also thought cameras might have been in the villa and that someone in the group tried to obtain surveillance footage, indicating the friends were worried about evidence. The FBI collected Shanquella's electronics, performing a full data extraction, and tracked the social media accounts of her travel companions, quietly building a timeline. By December 2022, Shanquella's family, frustrated by the lack of public action, took a bold step. Their attorneys, Shanquella Robinson, not related, and Benjamin Crump, wrote a letter to President Joe Biden and the U.S. State Department, urging intervention for U.S. prosecution or extradition to Mexico. They reportedly delivered a package of documents, including autopsy results and the video, to the White House. The case gained national attention. In April 2023, the moment of truth arrived on the U.S. side. After months of investigation, federal prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office in North Carolina met with Shanquella's family. They delivered heartbreaking news. The U.S. would not pursue federal criminal charges against any of the Cabo Six. The U.S. Department of Justice publicly announced that the available evidence does not support a federal prosecution. They noted that conflicting autopsy findings created reasonable doubt as to the cause of death. Attorney Shanquella Robinson addressed the media with Shanquella's anguished family, stating, "We are disappointed, but we're not deterred." She explained it wasn't unexpected, commenting on the justice system for Black and brown people. She revealed the Charlotte autopsy showed no spinal injury and an undetermined cause of death, conflicting with Mexico's findings. She also noted that Shanquella's attack was captured on video, yet no one would be arrested, reminding her of George Floyd. "It reminded me of George Floyd when we were told that we weren't seeing what we were seeing." The frustration was clear and palpable. The family then pursued a civil lawsuit in the U.S. against the Cabo Six, as well as against the FBI and State Department. In their legal responses, members of the Cabo Six sought to dismiss the lawsuit. Nadsir Wiggins, for instance, denied all allegations, claiming he was not present during the incident and that the lawsuit failed to point to any specific wrongful act he committed. He argued that the claims against him were speculative. Other members similarly sought dismissal, arguing that a U.S. federal court was not the proper venue for a case where events happened in Mexico. The primary alleged attacker, DeHaan Jackson, who has reportedly changed her name to Amani Green, also filed her response without an attorney. She denied all allegations and argued technical defenses, claiming she was not properly served and that the statute of limitations had expired. However, the lawsuit was filed within the typical 2-year window for wrongful death claims in North Carolina. By mid-2025, none of the Cabo Six had publicly shown remorse or given explanations under oath, operating in pure legal defense mode. The DOJ also moved to dismiss the claims against federal agencies. In June 2025, a federal judge dismissed a large portion of the lawsuit, specifically all claims against the FBI and State Department, stating the family's case could not proceed against the U.S. government. However, the judge's order did not explicitly say what would happen with the Cabo Six portion of the lawsuit, suggesting a split decision and more time needed to rule on the friends' motions for dismissal. A few days later, it was reported that DeHaan Jackson Amani Green had formally asked the courts to dismiss the case against her. As of June 2025, the claims against the Cabo Six are still pending a judge's decision on whether the case can proceed in a U.S. court. Meanwhile, the Mexican criminal case and extradition efforts have seen no meaningful public progress. In quiet moments, Shanquella Robinson still thinks of the last time she saw her daughter's face and heard her voice from Mexico, excited about a fateful trip. She thinks about how just 24 hours later, her daughter was gone in a way no mother should ever experience. The unanswered questions linger. What exactly happened in that villa bedroom before the doctor was called? Why didn't anyone intervene or tell the truth? The image of Shanquella, naked and beaten, circulates online and in her family's mind. In a June 2023 rally in Washington, Salamandra stood before supporters, holding a portrait of Shanquella in happier times. She said, "It's been hard. Our lives will never be the same. We will not stop until we have justice for Shanquella." To this day, a pink cross with Shanquella's name stands in her family's yard as a reminder and a promise that her story isn't over. The FBI files released, the clashing autopsies, the court motions, they are all pieces of a puzzle still being assembled. Even if the legal systems in two countries have yet to hold anyone accountable, the court of public opinion has delivered its own verdict. Something seriously wrong happened to Shanquella Robinson, and the world is watching and waiting for justice to be served. Shanquella Robinson's case emphasizes the complexities of international justice and the experiences many people of color face within the judicial system. It is also a profound story of a mother and father's unrelenting love, refusing to let their daughter's death be swept aside. As of mid-2025, no criminal charges have been filed in the United States, and the primary suspect remains under investigation by Mexican authorities with an unserved arrest warrant. The civil lawsuit in the U.S. hangs in the balance of the courts. Shanquella's family has seen partial victories, like the public release of records and widespread awareness of this case, and painful setbacks, like the DOJ's decision not to prosecute, but they continue to speak Shanquella's name and demand action. As attorney Sue Ann Robinson said of Salamandra, she had to bury her child, grieve for her child, and then fight for justice for her child at the same time. No parent should have to endure that. Her case has uplifted the issue of justice for Black women and reminded everyone that friendship is sadly not a guarantee of safety. Will Shanquella Robinson's family ever get the justice they seek? Will there be a day when someone stands in a courtroom to answer for what happened to her at that villa? Right now, those answers remain unknown. But one thing is clear. The world has not forgotten about Shanquella Robinson. Each retelling of her story, each protest, each legal battle keeps the pressure on to having justice served. Thank you for watching and for being a vital part of this conversation. If you found this story impactful, please like this video, share it with others, and consider subscribing to 247 True Crime Chronicles for more true crime stories. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our newest updates. Your support helps us continue to shed light on these important cases and advocate for justice. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe and remember to always seek the truth.